Welcome to the News Review on Press TV. Fighting surges in the Sudanese capital Khartoum as the war between the two rival militaries enters its 11th week. Clashes in residential areas left scores of dead bodies lying in the streets. The army has been using airstrikes and heavy artillery to try and dislodge the RSF paramilitary forces from neighborhoods across the capital. The RSF claims it seized the headquarters of a police unit loaded with stacks of ammunition. Fighting has increased since a series of ceasefire deals failed to stick. The truce talks were adjourned last week. The power struggle that broke out in mid-April has killed thousands of people. It's also caused a humanitarian crisis and displaced 2.5 million people. The UN has raised the alarm about ethnic targeting. Two guests are now joining me to discuss this. Fidel Amake Awuso, International Relations and Security Analyst in Accra. Also with me is Jonathan Ofeansa, publisher with the Africa Briefing in London. Good to see you both, gentlemen. So beginning with Fidel, lots of negotiations have been held so far. Mediation also has been made, and some truces have come into effect, but they didn't last long. How many more truces do we need so we could see the violence stop and calm be restored to Sudan?
All right. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, the Sudan crisis has really become a very serious crisis on the African continent in general and the Horn of Africa specifically. Now, all the effort by regional powers and international powers to ensure that there will be peace in Sudan has fallen on the rocks. No result has so far been realized ever since. There has been many ceasefires, but after every ceasefire, the conflicts get worse. And what is making it more devastating is the fact that civilians keep dying and strategic facilities like hospitals and schools keep getting bombarded, and other facilities like bridges. And so this makes it a very escalated conflict on the continent.
Okay, Jonathan, we know about the numerous talks regarding truce and ceasefires that were held, but tell us about the reasons. Why do they not last long?
It's just because there's a deep-seated animosity between the two sides. General Dagalo, who has the Rapid Support Forces, and General Burhan, who heads the National Army and is the de facto head of state, and Dagalo, where until this war broke out, was his deputy of the Sovereign Council that ruled Sudan. There's a deep-seated animosity, and each side is intransigent, and each side believes that it can defeat the other. So this intransigence has led to further escalation of the conflict. I mean, the US and Saudi Arabia have tried to broker previous ceasefires, and none of them were observed until the most recent one, the 3-day ceasefire, that was observed to make way for humanitarian assistance to be given to civilians. And immediately the ceasefire, the 3-day ceasefire, ended on Saturday. The fighting resumed. And as you said in your report, the RSF claimed that it had captured a depot belonging to the Police Central Reserve. And that Police Central Reserve was the one that the Sovereign Council used to quell civilian protests, before, in the aftermath of the coup d'etat in 2021. And that police reserve itself, has been placed under sanctions by the United States. So it appears and now the United States and Saudi Arabia are giving up. they've suspended, the peace talks in Jeddah. So it appears these two powers, are even giving up, on any hope of a lasting ceasefire between the two sides. So we don't know how this conflict might end, how long it will go for, and how it will end.
Okay, now let me ask Fidel this question. Fidel, 11 weeks pass, many people have lost their lives, many of them have been displaced. So it doesn't seem that truce and negotiations have worked. So what will work? What's the solution?
Right. One thing that is very unique about this particular conflict is the fact that while the rapid support forces use infantry men to capture territories on the ground, the military consistently uses air power. Now, what this is doing slowly is that it is making the regular forces look bad, in the sense that if you use air power, then it means there is this sort of indiscriminate bombing from the skies, where General Burhan and his air force keep bombarding strategic areas, as I've mentioned earlier. Now, with the rapid support forces, they keep gaining grounds. For instance, the capture of the strategic facility that my colleague mentioned is a plus to the rapid support forces. Again, if you went to West Darfur, where the RSF have their stronghold, the government has also made some inroads in those areas. However, in the large scale, you see General Dagalo gaining more grounds. Now, what this means is that it is making peace very difficult to find, because Dagalo has adopted a strategy where his forces are occupying strategic areas and strategic facilities, thereby attracting bombardment from the government forces. So anytime there is ceasefire, the reason why we don't find any strong ceasefire is the fact that while the ceasefire is supposed to be observed, the rapid support forces keep moving and keep getting entrenched in the strategic facilities that they've occupied, and government forces keep bombarding this area. So it is making peace very difficult to find. Now, Kenya was chosen by the regional organization, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. Now, General Burhan said that he does not recognize that leadership from Kenya, in that the president of Kenya or the government of Kenya has stated that the conflict is between two generals, and according to Burhan, that is a sign of bias that Kenya is about to show. So this makes it very difficult to find.
Okay, Fidel, we have only 1 minute. Allow me to give Jonathan 1 minute to wrap up. Jonathan, if mediation is not the solution, what is the solution? We have only 1 minute left.
Well, there's no other solution apart from the military solution. That will end up, claiming, the lives of so many innocent civilians. Already more than 1,000 civilians, have died. And if we resort to the military solution, a lot more innocent people are going to die. So the only viable, realistic solution is mediation, and this is where, the AU, should step in. The AU Peace and Security Council should step in, and maybe the US and again and Saudi Arabia, and also the other countries that back the two sides. Look, the United Arab Emirates, supports the RSF. Egypt supports the General Burhan. So all these, parties, should come together, right, and try to mediate and bring a peaceful a peaceful solution to this conflict.
Hopefully. Okay, that's all the time we have. Let me thank our guests, Fidel Amake Owusu in Accra, Jonathan Ofe-Ansah in London. Thank you for watching this episode of the News Review.